क्लास चाहिए आपको या छुट्टी चाहिए? क्लास चाहिए? So before we write the ecological succession, we'll write about the microbeads and microplastics. What is microbead or microplastic? अगर हुआ होगा करंट में, tell me. हाँ? उसका उसके डायमेंशंस चाहिए. So, take. Microplastics are the plastic particles. Microplastics are the plastic particles which are measuring less than 5 millimeters. Not microbeads. Microplastic अलग है थोड़ा. Microplastic का नैनोमीटर से कम, it is microbead. 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters. The largest generation of marine debris comes from Asia, with China being the largest polluter. Marine debris comes from Asia, with China being the largest producer of microplastics, and India 12th. Next, solid microplastics which are less than 1 millimeter in dimensions, are known as microbeads. Which are less than 1 millimeter in dimension are known as microbead. Getting the difference? इससे भी छोटा. Microbeads are problematic. Because they are found in more than 100 personal care products. Which enter into the water bodies. Through sewage treatment plants. Pull toxic pollutants, absorb the toxic pollutants, absorb, not pull, toxic pollutants, absorb toxic pollutants, and become snacks food or snack for aquatic animals. Food or snack for aquatic animals. With the period of time, some of the microbeads re-enter the human food chain, causing cancer, as well as birth defects and developmental problems. Cancer, birth defects and developmental problems. Microbeads are dangerous. Because they are rich in bisphenol A. What is BPA? What? बॉटल के ऊपर लिखे रहता है BPA फ्री, bisphenol A, parabens, and sometimes even in triclosan. सबसे पहले बिस्फेनॉल ए. क्या है बिस्फेनॉल ए? It is a polycarbonate plastic. It is an industrial chemical. That is used as epoxy resin in water bottles, containers, etc. Epoxy resin in water bottles, containers, etc. Epoxy resin lining दी रहती है उसको, so that it does not, कोई water bottle वो सब सड़ ना जाए. That is what is known as an epoxy resin. A lining, simple words में. Effects. Cognitive effects. 1. Negatively impacts cognitive functioning of brain, or negatively impacts cognitive functioning. Causing behavioral problems. बहुत ज़्यादा शैम्पू से नहाओगे तो it can cause behavioral problems. Increased blood pressure, and lack of development, or hampers the development of infants. Hampers the development of infants. Fine. Bisphenol A. So हमेशा बॉटल के ऊपर लिखा होना चाहिए BPA फ्री. Fine. Food grade plastic. Otherwise जब भी पानी पियोगे, that BPA is going inside our body. Coming to parabens. What are parabens? What? शैम्पू में जो होता है. Only in shampoo? Girls especially, what are parabens? कहाँ होता है parabens? You look for paraben free product या नहीं? You look for paraben free या नीचे rate? So paraben is an industrial preservative used in cosmetics. किसी भी कॉस्मेटिक में जनरली फॉर प्रिजर्वेशन, अदरवाइज कॉस्मेटिक भी खराब हो सकता है. सो इट इज यूज्ड फॉर प्रिजर्वेशन. सो paraben are used in beauty products, comma, cosmetics to increase the shelf life, because they prevent the growth of bacteria and fungus, because they stop the growth of bacteria or fungus. Why they are bad? Why paraben free हिमालय या बायोटेक या कोई भी प्रोडक्ट, फॉर एग्जाम्पल वो जो ब्रांड है मैं भूल गया अब, विच इज फ्रॉम यूएसए, फ्रॉम यूके, छोड़ो, नॉट ओरिफ्लेम, जो आयुर्वेदिक ब्रांड है जो बाहर से आया है, विच चार्जेस वेरी हाई प्राइस, बॉडी शॉप, all this are claimed that they are paraben free. Why? What does it cause? Take down. Paraben is not, मतलब हर pollutant cancer नहीं करता. So paraben does not cause cancer. Paraben disrupt the hormone function. Paraben disrupt the hormone function by mimicking मतलब by mimicking estrogen, by mimicking estrogen. What is estrogen? A hormone. By mimicking estrogen, which can trigger growth of tumors, and long-term exposure can cause breast cancer and cancer of reproductive tissues. Long-term exposure can cause breast cancer and the cancer on reproductive tissues. So prostate cancer is becoming very common in women, and this is one reason is cosmetics. Fine. Next, the parabens are washed. In the aquatic ecosystem, destroying the marine life. Coming to triclosan. Have I told you about triclosan earlier? ट्रिक्लोसान कहाँ यूज होता है? ट्रिक्लोसान? टूथपेस्ट, सिंथॉल, एनीथिंग दैट says it is odor free, antibacterial soap, लाइफ बॉय, ये सब में ट्रिक्लोसान. सो ट्रिक्लोसान is antibacterial and antifungal agent. Which is used in toothpaste, soaps, detergent, toys and surgical instruments. क्यों यूज होता है? अगेन एंटीबैक्टीरियल एंड एंटी फंगल. दैट इज द why it is harmful, because it is endocrine disruptor. मतलब it will cause destruction of hormones. It is endocrine disruptor. comma, bioaccumulant, and may cause cancer. अभी तक पता नहीं कैंसर करता है कि नहीं. May cause cancer. May cause cancer. Therefore, many countries have banned triclosan from soaps. Many countries have banned triclosan from soaps. Have banned triclosan from soaps. टूथपेस्ट में अभी भी अलाउड है. So tell me, how does it affect the marine life? Increase the toxicity of water and kills the marine life, true or false? Yes. So first, it increases toxicity, and thus causes marine pollution, killing the marine animals. Causes marine pollution, killing the marine animals. Second, they settle on phytoplanktons. जाके कहाँ सेटल हो जाएंगे? ऑब्वियसली नॉट ऑन फिश, प्लांट्स के ऊपर, फाइटोप्लैंक्टन्स. एंड thus enter the marine food chain. Causing bioaccumulation. And ultimately enter the human food chain. Bioaccumulation. And ultimately enter the human food chain. Third, plastics can block, ये microplastics, microbeads can block and destroy the digestive tract. Plastics can block and destroy the digestive tract, causing starvation and immunity. Underline the word starvation and immunity. कैसे starvation and immunity? Causing starvation and destroying immunity. Destroying immunity. Can someone tell me how destroys the कैसे microplastics will cause starvation? How? They will enter the human food chain, they will enter the fish cup food chain, they are very small, so they will settle in the digestive tract. As they settle in the digestive tract, हमें ऐसा लगेगा कि there is a feeling of fullness, and because there is a feeling of fullness, खाना नहीं खाया जाएगा, because they are entering inside. So इनको कहते हैं nanoparticles which cause bioaccumulation and ultimately causing the increase in the giving the idea of fullness. तो खाने का मन नहीं करेगा क्योंकि प्लास्टिक है बॉडी के अंदर. Fine, food is not there. There is a plastic inside the body. Next, it causes entanglement, and the death of marine animal life. It causes entanglement and the death of marine animal life. Fine. कैसे क्वेश्चन आएगा? See, because this is current, we don't have question ready, but question will come similar to question number 16. Don't solve question number 16 abhi. You will not be able to. 16. Fine. Yeah, like question number 36. Come to question number 36. So यहाँ पे तब issue area in the news was ocean acidification. Now they can give microplastic pollution is increasing. Why this phenomena is a cause of concern? Suppose it is a question now on microplastics. Tell me, the growth and the survival of calcareous phytoplanktons will be adversely affected. True or false? True. The growth and the survival of the coral reefs will be adversely affected. By microplastics? Yes. Plastics will block the sunlight. They can go into the pores of the corals and thus they will cause death of the corals. The survival of some animals that have larvae will be adversely affected. True or false? True. The cloud seeding and the formation of the clouds will be affected. कुछ लेना देना है क्लाउड सीडिंग एंड प्लास्टिक्स का या क्लाउड सीडिंग एंड ओशन एसिडिफिकेशन का? नहीं. So the answer will be, in that case also the answer is 1, 2, 3. Fine. In this case also the answer will be 1, 2 and 3. Getting this? Fine. How this will be affected? Fine with this? Microplastics in the oceans. So the question will be as it is. अगर आता है तो ऐसे ही आएगा. You don't have to remember कि कौन सा country सबसे ज़्यादा है, कौन सा नहीं है. One fact here, Netherlands was the first country in the world. Netherlands became the first country in the world to ban microplastics. India has decided to ban microplastics. India has decided to ban microplastics from 1st January. From 1st January 2020. And third fact, Palau. Palau. What is Palau? Island. क्यों न्यूज में है? It became the first country in the world to ban sunscreen. Became the first country in the world to ban the sunscreen. क्यों? Sunscreen also has this cosmetics, bisphenol A, parabens, triclosan, everything. So it is the first country in the world to ban sunscreen to save corals. To save corals. I am quickly revising this ecological succession जिसको नहीं समझ में आया. See, initially there is a bare rock. Fine. On this bare rock, nothing can grow. So the first species that will come and settle on the bare rock, we will call them as pioneer species. क्या करेंगे pioneer species? They will break down the bare rock. And thus this bare rock will be converted into soil. But this soil will not be very fertile. Why? Because it is only the superficial layer of the soil. हमने देखा soil horizon में O layer होना चाहिए. Top layer should be there because O layer will have humus. So over the period of time, in this top layer of the soil, small plants, shrubs, grass, herbs will start growing. And इनके root system से the country rock will be broken and thus the soil will become more and more thick. By their root system, they will engage in the exchange of minerals. अब कौन से herbs can grow? Any herbs can grow here. This is how the life has progressed. Fine. So over the period of time, the soil will get enriched. As the soil will get enriched here, small trees such as pine will come in this region. By their extensive root system, this small trees will further break into into the rocks, and thus they will make the soil more and more thicker. As the soil becomes more and more thicker, ultimately final big tree will come in an region. And this progress of how the life progresses in an area is from pioneer to climax community is what is known as an ecological succession. बीच में की community को क्या हो जाएगा? It will be displaced. It will be displaced over the period of time, and this community is what is known as an seral community. So pioneer से seral से climax community. This process, intermediate जो community है, जो series में आती है, this is what is known as an seral community. Fine with this? So this entire process is known as ecological succession. अब ecological succession is of two types. One is primary succession, one is secondary succession. What do you mean by primary succession? Primary means पहले कुछ नहीं था. It was a bare region. There was nothing growing, only rocks were there. So first time when the succession occurs very slowly over the period of time, it is known as an primary succession. Secondary succession may be due to natural disaster or due to artificial human made disaster. जैसे अभी canopy led forest fires. So the original vegetation is destroyed, and then the next जो भी survive है यहाँ पे, जरूरी नहीं pioneer community, only this tree is surviving maybe. This tree will start growing. So that is known as an secondary succession. Generally secondary succession is allogenic, primary succession is autogenic. Auto self, genic origin. So self से आया है. Allogenic, allo outside. Allopathy is the name of medicine. Why? Because बाहर से you take inside, you try to treat the disease because of inside. Ayurveda, homeopathy, they will give you tablets, but it will increase the inner resistance. It will not kill the disease. Allopathy is going to kill the disease by giving toxics from outside. So allogenic succession is from outside. And when this allogenic succession occurs due to any kind of a natural disaster, so generally allogenic succession is a secondary succession. बस इतना ही है succession में. Then you will have to see कहाँ पे succession नहीं होता, कहाँ पे होता है. So deserts में क्यों नहीं होता? Because some limiting factors. Tundra region में क्यों नहीं होता? Because of some limiting factors. Savanna में क्यों नहीं होता? Because of some limiting factors. And we know the limiting factors, what are they? So what is the definition of ecological succession? What do you mean by the ecological succession? And अभी तक दो questions, one which we have solved, and the other question was lichens क्या है? We have solved. Next question was, they had given you XYZ, 3 species दिए, and they had asked you which of the following will be pioneer community. Climax community they are never going to ask you, because all the major trees in the world, teak wood, sandalwood, mango, human beings, sab are an example of an climax community. So जो present species है on an area, that is known as an climax community. Next question they can ask you is, consider the following statement, that is regarding the primary succession. देंगे volcanic island with no life, देंगे a newly formed island, third bare rock surface. पूछेंगे which of the following things will have primary succession? 1 and 2 only, 1, 2, 3 only, 1, 2 and all of the above or none of the above. So volcanic island, a region having no life and bare rock. तीनों का मतलब एक ही है. Volcanic island, newly formed volcano also does not have any life, primary succession होगा. Bare rock surface, वहाँ पे भी primary succession होगा. And the region having no life will be also having a primary succession. और अगर इसमें और एक option दे दिया, a forest destroyed by forest fire, कौन सा succession होगा बाद में? Secondary succession. So what will occur here is, because of the canopy laid forest fire in the Madhumalai, in the Western Ghats, there will be new vegetation which is grown, and that is an example of an secondary succession. Then the second question which UPSC asks you only from one region is, you have already solved that in geography. In the tropical rainforest, once the original forest is destroyed, dense vegetation does not regrow. Why? Because या मतलब primary succession फिर से नहीं होता. क्यों? Because of heavy rainfall causes intense leaching of the soil, and therefore the soil becomes deficient in nutrients. Heavy rainfall में laterite soil बन जाती है, and laterite soil is poor. So this is the background how the questions will be interrelated and asked from geography and ecological succession. Fine. You should have basic geographical knowledge कि कहाँ पे tropical rainforest में what happens? Heavy rainfall. Then why succession does not occur? Because of leaching. What does leaching do? Leaching makes the soil deficient in nutrients. Fine with this? So take down the succession. The nature of dynamism in the biotic communities, causes the plant and the animal species, to be replaced over a period of time, animal species to be replaced over a period of time, full stop. This succession based on natural selection and the survival of the fittest, which is in a specific direction. Q specific direction? We will not call this as ecological succession. Climax to pioneer. Here destruction hai. Succession is from pioneer to climax, which is in a specific direction from pioneer community to climax community. Is known as an ecological succession. So can I say ecological succession is progressive in nature? It is always from simple to complex. So it is a progressive in nature. Fine. So एक bracket में याद रखना, it is progressive in nature. Next for prelims, pioneer species का definition and उसके examples. Fine. Climax community का definition, not examples. Then what do you mean by primary? What do you mean by secondary? So next point. The first plants हम करते हैं only in the basis of plants. You don't do it in the basis of animals. Animals में you will study that in maybe in bio या in zoology, in botany, etc. The first plants to colonize an area are known as pioneer species. The pioneer species will occupy the bare rocks. And examples are, first bacteria, second fungus, third weeds. बारिश होते ही दूसरे दिन घास जो आती है उससे पहले the ground is flat, there is nothing growing, और बारिश आते ही next day it comes out. So that is a primary, that is an actually secondary succession, but this is how. किसी ने जाके grass के seeds डाले थे? No one. But still the weeds are coming out. Remember, they have an ability to survive in the toughest conditions. So therefore, summers में ऐसा लगता है barren है, जैसे ही पानी मिलता है तो weeds come out. Weeds, moss, lichens, and in the tundra region, rhododendrons. Flowering plants in the tundra region, small grasses, flowering grasses in the tundra region are known as rhododendrons. Fine. The pioneer community the pioneer community is replaced by shrubs, grasses, herbs. Such community which occurs in series is known as seral community. Each succession causes increase in the productivity. Point wise ही लिख लो ताकि you will be able to easily revise. Increase in the productivity, comma, yeah, next point, increase in the biodiversity. Next, shift of the nutrients from the base to the topsoil. Shift of the nutrients from the base to the topsoil. नीचे से nutrients ऊपर आ गए. Fine. Next, increase in the complexity of the food web. ज्यादा ऑप्शंस मिल रहे खाने के लिए because there are more biodiversity, so increase in the complexity of the food web. Next, greater specialization of ecological niche. क्योंकि हर एक का रोल डिफाइन हो रहा है as the animals are coming up of different biodiversity of the different food trophic levels. Last point, the final stage of a succession is known as climax community, which is stable, mature, multicellular and complex, as well as long lasting. Multicellular, complex, as well as long lasting. Fine with this? Any doubts yahan tak? Clear? Succession is of two types. Succession which occurs on bare land, comma, rocks, not soil, comma, newly formed volcanic islands, comma, newly formed delta and estuaries, where no life occurred earlier, is known as primary succession. While the succession that occurs due to partial or complete destruction of existing seral or climax community. existing seral or climax community is known as secondary succession. Is known as secondary succession. कौन सा फास्टर होगा? ये यूपीएससी ने पूछा था. सेकेंडरी और प्राइमरी? Secondary is faster. So remember, this has been very simple past year question. Secondary is faster. Why it is secondary is faster? Because they don't have to start back from the breaking of the rocks and formation of the soil. Already all the conditions are there. Fine with this? Next point. When the succession is brought by the living inhabitants of the community themselves, it is known as autogenic succession. It is known as an autogenic succession. While when the succession is brought due to external agents such as floods, droughts, agents such as floods, droughts, fire, it is known as allogenic succession. It is known as allogenic succession. Take this question. So what is the right answer for this? Is the first right or wrong? Autogenic succession by living inhabitants. So it is biotic. While this is due to climate change, abiotic components. Fine. Anthropogenic global warming is increasing carbon fertilization, causing faster growth and succession. Which of the following is correct? दोनों राइट है. दोनों इसलिए राइट है, दोनों इसलिए दिए ताकि एग्जाम के लिए याद रखना ये स्टेटमेंट. Fine. What do you mean by carbon fertilization? See, we are increasing the amount of carbon dioxide that is being released in the nature. This carbon dioxide is taken in more amount by plants, and therefore the rate of the growth of the plants is increasing. So increase in the rate of the plants or more amount of carbon dioxide intake by the plants is known as carbon fertilization. Fertilization growth. क्यों ज़्यादा food, more amount of carbon dioxide is available. So take down this. The growth in the plants, due to more carbon dioxide available, due to more carbon dioxide, which is captured by the plants, is known as carbon fertilization. Fine with this? कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा है, ये काम नहीं कर रहा है क्या? छोड़, हाँ दे देंगे. Up to 3 points for here. In the savanna, succession does not occur. In the grassland, succession does not occur. Do ye jo extra points are only for prelims. In the savanna or grasslands, succession does not occur because of water and fire limits. As it is question tha. Water and fire limits. Second, in the tropical evergreen forest, original dense vegetation does not regrow once it is cleared. Because the soil is deficient in nutrients. Due to intense leaching. Third point, in the tundra region, natural vegetation consists of moss, lichens, and rhododendrons. Because in such tough conditions, only pioneer species can survive. Fine. Fourth, in Himalayas, as the climate changes, you already know this, मैं सिर्फ revise करा रहा हूँ. There is a succession of vegetation from tropical to tundra. While in Western Ghats, there is a succession from tropical to temperate. Fine? From tropical to temperate. इसलिए रिवाइज करा रहा हूँ बिकॉज अपना क्लास होने के बाद फिर से ये न्यूज में है शोला फॉरेस्ट. नेक्स्ट, ह्यूमन बींग्स अफेक्ट सेकेंडरी सक्सेशन. human beings affect secondary succession by causing soil erosion, comma, global warming, loss of biodiversity, introduction of invasive alien species, etc. Example, due to the introduction of invasive alien species, such as pine, wattle, and eucalyptus, in the Shola forest of Western Ghats, forest fires are increasing. Shola forest of Western Ghats, forest fires are increasing. कौन सी फॉरेस्ट फायर है ये? ग्राउंड फॉरेस्ट फायर है, कैनोपी फायर है? अभी जो वेस्टर्न घाट्स में फॉरेस्ट फायर चल रही है, इज इट ग्राउंड और इज इट कैनोपी? इट इज कैनोपी. व्हाई इट इज कैनोपी? कैनोपी मतलब ऊपर का ग्रीन कवर हैज कॉट अ फायर. व्हाई? मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर इन्वेसिव एलियन स्पीसीज. दे बिलोंग टू डेजर्ट. दे बिकम ड्राई, डेसिडियस बन जाते हैं, एंड व्हेन दे रब अगेंस्ट ईच अदर दे कैच फायर. सो विद दिस बैकग्राउंड, आज के टेस्ट पेपर जो अपना रेगुलर टेस्ट पेपर है, उसमें से डिफरेंस बिटवीन द कैनोपी फॉरेस्ट फायर एंड द ग्राउंड फॉरेस्ट फायर करके जाना. I have included that question regarding the canopy fire and what are the measures to control the canopy fire. आज के पेपर में I don't exactly remember the question number. ठीक है? Ecological pyramids. What do you mean by ecological pyramid? The representation of the species in the pyramidal form. Don't write anything. This is normal pyramid and this is, ये बहुत ही superficially करके जाना है, only for prelims. This is inverted pyramid. So I will also be going very fast here. Normal pyramid is having large base, and as we go up, it goes on decreasing. That is, the number of animals here can be is obviously greater than the number of animals here, than the number of animals here, and number of animals here. Here, inverted pyramid may exactly opposite. Number of animals can be less here, it will be more here, it will be more here, it will be more here. So this is inverted and the normal pyramid. No need of doing this. When we study the ecological pyramid, we study it in the terms of pyramid of numbers. We study them in the terms of pyramid of biomass. मतलब weight, जहाँ पे we consider the dry weight, and lastly we consider them in the pyramid of energy. अब क्या पढ़ना है इसमें prelims के लिए? देखो, this topics have become so simple nowadays कि they will not come in mains, and even if it comes in mains, it will come in such a way that you will be able to write all this even if you do only the diagrams and the what we are studying for the prelims. So when we consider the number of animals at each level, each trophic level, which level? Trophic level, then it is known as pyramid of numbers. When we consider the weight of animals at each trophic level, then it is known as pyramid of biomass. If we consider how the energy is transformed from the lower to higher trophic levels or from higher to lower trophic levels, it is known as pyramid of energy. इसमें से ये भी नॉर्मल हो सकता है, दिस कैन बी इन्वर्टेड, दिस कैन बी नॉर्मल, दिस कैन बी इन्वर्टेड. कल ही हमने देखा कि दिस कैन नेवर बी इन्वर्टेड. व्हाई? बिकॉज एनर्जी इज ऑलवेज यूनिडायरेक्शनल. सन से प्लांट्स, प्लांट से herbivorous animals, herbivorous animals say to the carnivorous, and carnivorous say to the top level predators. So the pyramid of energy is always unidirectional. We can never give energy to the sun. Sun will always give energy to us, except maybe China, जो अपना artificial sun बना रहा है 10 million degrees centigrades. So even greater than the temperature of normal sun. So China एक अलग चीज है. So otherwise but that is also be an artificial sun. So we can never take the energy, we can never give the energy to sun. So out of all the ecological pyramid, which is always straight, normal, upright energy, ये upright हो सकता है, ये inverted हो सकता है. तो आपको prelims के लिए इतना याद रखना है, किसमें upright है, किसमें inverted है, किसमें upright है, किसमें inverted है. Nothing else for prelims. Fine with this? And this is always upright. Upright matlab normal, straight. Fine. Second thing that will come here is an application of food chain, food web and bioaccumulation. Before we go, I have used a word known as trophic levels. Can someone tell me what is a trophic level? What is a trophic level? Not energy. What? You eat veg, non-veg? Yeah, both. You? Veg. So he is at the primary consumer trophic level. He can be, depending upon which god he believes, he will be sometimes primary consumer and he will be sometimes a secondary consumer. मतलब trophic level क्या है? Your position in food chain, nothing else. Getting it? Trophic level is whether you are a producer, whether you are a primary consumer, whether you are a secondary consumer, or whether you are a predator. That is what is the trophic level. That is the position of organism in a food chain. Food chain से हमें क्या पता लगता है? Who is going to eat what? Fine. So grass is going to be eaten by grasshopper. Grasshopper is going to be eaten by rat. Rat is going to be eaten by snake. Snake is going to be eaten by the eagle. This is what is a food chain. Fine. So it is never going to be opposite. Now you tell me, food chain के बारे में, does it always start from producers in the normal food chain? Yes. Does the food chain is unidirectional? Yes, generally unidirectional. Third, can I say food chain tells who eats what? Fourth, can I say there can be a food chain in the members belonging to the same species? Food chain is in the food chain, the members belonging to the same species will be there. That is a small snake eating the large snake, large snake eating the bigger snake. हो सकता है, जिसको हम कहते हैं cannibalism. Is it a food chain? No. Food chain should always start from producers. So वो exception होता है. That is not taken in the food chain. Cannibalism is an exception. Food chain will never show the members of the same species. It will always show the members belonging to the different species. अब someone said fish. Fish is a very generic term. Fish में there are different species and subspecies. Shark is different from cod. Cod is different from mackerel. Mackerel is different from herring. So the food chain में याद रखना, हमेशा the members of the same species will not be there. कभी ये नहीं सुनेंगे हम कि weak human being is eaten by a big human being by still bigger human being. No. So that is cannibalism. That is an exception to the general laws. So remember, food chain में never the members of the same species are represented. Though cannibalism will exist in some animals, it will exist in lobsters, it will exist in snake, it exists in spiders, it exists in insects. So cannibalism, for example, there are many insects who will kill the mother and eat her body. So as soon as they are born. So that is an example of an cannibalism. But cannibalism is an exception. Fine with this? So first we will come to the trophic levels. Definition of a trophic level. The position of an organism in the food chain in the food chain is shown with the help of trophic levels. Is shown with the help of trophic levels. Is the shown with the help of trophic levels. Thus the trophic level, this has been a past year question. ये जो statement मैं दिखा रहा हूँ, these are basically from NCERTs, 12th standard bio NCERT. Trophic level is a representation. Trophic level is a representation of energy flow in an ecosystem. Of energy flow in an ecosystem, right? Position of a food chain is showing आप energy flow में कौन सा link हो, fine? Whether you are primary, whether you are secondary, whether you are omnivorous, whether you are the predator. So it is the energy flow in an food chain. The food chain refers to transfer of food energy from producers to the top level consumers. There are two types of food chain. One, grazing food chain, and दूसरा detrivorous food chain. Food chain भी दो टाइप के हैं. One which starts from green plants, or whether it is in the sea or whether it is on the ocean, it is a grazing food chain. One that starts from dead and decomposed matter of grazing food chain, it is detrivorous food chain. ये अलग food chain है. इसमें पहले decomposers, फिर top level vulture तक जाएगा. But this is a grazing food chain. We are concerned with obviously which food chain? Grazing food chain. Ab grazing food chain is of two types. We'll write later on, first try to understand. One, the food chain of grassland ecosystem or terrestrial ecosystem. And the second of aquatic ecosystem. Grassland क्यों? Because on the land there is a dominance of more grasses and less trees. Because of the dominance of the grasses, land ecosystem का दूसरा नाम है grassland ecosystem. So कल अगर question आता है regarding grassland and tree ecosystem, दोनों का मतलब एक नहीं है. Tree ecosystem is something different. Grassland ecosystem मतलब ये पूरा earth is an example of an grassland ecosystem. Why? Because ecosystem में the name is given to those species which dominates. Fine? In an ecosystem, the name is always given to those species which has dominated. So what dominates on the land? Grasses. Anywhere in the world you will find grasses commonly occurring, except in the tropical rainforest and tundra. Monsoon में भी grasses है, savanna grassland, steppe grassland are the grasses. There are grasses in the deserts, there are grasses in the Mediterranean biome, there is grasses in the Laurentia biome and other biomes. So therefore we will call them as the grassland biome. Now before I go further, can I say producer, primary consumer, secondary, yes or no, tertiary, quaternary, quinary, grasshopper, fine, frog, snake, eagle, eagle के ऊपर, eagle के ऊपर, vulture, it will come here. It is not a part of grazing food chain. Eagle को कभी vulture पकड़ेगा नहीं. Vulture will wait for eagle to die, and when it dies, it is an example of an detrivorous food chain. Fine. Take a second example. Grass, goat, man, wolf, टाइगर, या लेपर्ड लेना है लेपर्ड लो, उसके ऊपर टाइगर, टाइगर के ऊपर. नाउ आई एम आस्किंग यू वाई. वाई? जैसे हम ऊपर जा रहे हैं द एनर्जी इज डिक्रीजिंग. फाइन. सो मैक्सिमम 4 to 5 trophic levels are always supported in the food chain. It does not infinitely go. Understanding? क्यों? क्योंकि कल का याद रखना 100, 10, 1, 0.1, 0.01, उसके ऊपर it won't be there. So the energy level will keep on decreasing and therefore the food chain does not infinitely exceed. So this is one point you note down. Maximum 4 to 5 trophic levels. Maximum 4 to 5 trophic levels. 4 to 5 trophic levels are possible in grazing food chain. In grazing food chain, while 6 to 7 trophic levels are possible in aquatic food chain. 6 to 7 trophic levels are possible in aquatic food chain. 6 to 7 trophic levels are possible in aquatic food chain. Which is more efficient then? Grazing food chain या aquatic food chain? जो ज़्यादा लंबी है उसमें एनर्जी लॉस कम है. कौन सी ज़्यादा लंबी है? Aquatic. So aquatic food chain is more efficient as compared to the grazing food chain. क्योंकि loss of energy is less. In grazing food chain में 10% energy is transferred, aquatic food chain में 15% energy is transferred, and therefore aquatic food chain is always longer than the grazing food chain. Remember this simple facts. Fine. Again I am telling you, this area looks very easy, but अगर इजी है तो यू शुड नॉट मिस अ सिंगल मार्क्स आउट ऑफ दिस. हमें पता है जब 3 क्वेश्चंस आने हैं इस एरिया से, यू शुड नॉट मिस अ सिंगल मार्क्स, बिकॉज 2 या 3 इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस ऐसे होंगे जो कभी नहीं सुने होंगे. नो मैटर हाउ मच करंट यू स्टडी, देयर इज ऑलवेज अ लिमिटेशन ऑफ रिमेंबरिंग. सो यू शुड नेवर मिस अ मार्क्स इन दिस क्वेश्चंस. फाइन. सो विच इज लॉन्गर? एक्वाटिक फूड चेन. क्यों? एनर्जी नहीं लॉस होता. क्यों नहीं एनर्जी लॉस होता? इट इज इन वाटर. हीट is not lost in the water bodies and heat is a form of energy. Heat is conserved there and इसलिए the aquatic food chain is longer as compared to the grazing food chain. Fine. So this is because the ecological efficiency. This is because the ecological efficiency is greater in the aquatic food chain. In the aquatic food chain. And draw these 2 diagrams. Is it visible behind? sorry. Grazing food chain, terrestrial food chain and the aquatic food chain. So how many trophic levels? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 maximum. How many trophic levels? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Q, 10% rule and greater than 10%. So there is more energy available at the higher level. Q, more energy is available now. Once, have you finished drawing this? Why more energy is available? Because transportation के लिए there is a medium, that is water, in the terms of ocean currents, waves, tides. यहाँ पे you will have to make your own transportation. You do not depend upon wind for transportation. वहाँ पे they will not spend the energy in transportation. यहाँ पे there is a spending of energy in transportation. Fine. वहाँ पे they don't have to spend the energy in respiration. Oxygen directly उनके skins के through अंदर चला जाता है. यहाँ पे we have to spend the energy in respiration. इसलिए will the food land crops will be more nutrition या marine food crops will be more in nutrition? Marine food crops हमेशा algae, seaweeds are better in nutrition because they are having the pure form of energy than the land crops. So nutritional deficiency के लिए what is suggested? Eating the marine food crops. Yes, what was the doubt? They are known as crustaceans. What are crustaceans? All the shell bearing animals जिनको outer shell होता है calcium carbonate का, they are crustaceans. What is diatom? A tiny phytoplankton is known as an diatom. उसके बाद zooplankton, उसके बाद crustaceans, उसके बाद herrings, a fish which will feed on the crustaceans generally. Except for lobster. Lobster एक ऐसा है जो बड़ा crustacean है which is going to eat the herring. But general law is herring will feed on the crustaceans. Mackerel. Mackerel मतलब बड़ी fish थोड़ी, सुरमई. Prawns. Sorry, no, pomfret. Then और बड़ी fish and then ultimately it will go to shark. Fine. So maximum 4 to 5 trophic levels are possible in terrestrial food chain, not the grazing food chain. In the terrestrial or grassland food chain. In the terrestrial food chain. Next point. Have you understood this? Does the food chain tells who eats what? Who eats what? When the food chain starts from dead and decomposed organic matter, dead and decomposed organic matter from the grazing food chain, it is known as detritus food chain. It is known as a detritus food chain. It is known as a detritus food chain. Getting it? Decomposers are part of an detritus food chain. Question. Maximum amount of energy maximum amount of energy, question is maximum amount of energy flows through dash, dash मतलब through grazing food chain या detritus food chain. Maximum amount of energy in an ecosystem will flow through grazing food chain या detritus food chain. Answer, detritus food chain. Maximum amount of energy in an ecosystem flows through detritus food chain. Q. Because everyone dies, and because everyone dies, everyone becomes a food for the detrivores, except for Hindu and some religion जहाँ पे burning is practiced, बाकी सब में there is a burial, and burial means you become a part of detritus food chain. Anything that dies becomes a part of detritus food chain. Getting it? So ये एक fact याद रखना, maximum amount of energy कुछ भी हुआ, for example, कुछ भी हुआ, any dead decomposed organic matter, it will become a part of detritus food chain. Whether it is plant, whether it is animal, whether it is insect, it will become a part of detritus food chain. Next, detritus food chain is important. Detritus food chain is important because it increases the fertility of the soil. It increases the fertility of the soil by the process known as humification. You already know what is humus. क्या? Humus is dead and decomposed organic matter. So कौन बनाता है humus? Detritus food chain. उस प्रोसेस को क्या कहते हैं? Humification. Fine with this? Fine? See, in the real world, what is going to happen? Can I say in the real world, grass can be eaten by grasshopper, it can be eaten by cattle, fine? Cattle can be eaten by wolf or tiger directly, or by human beings. Fine. A man can be eaten by tiger. Tiger can eat the cattle. There can be snake eaten by eagle. Eagle can be eaten by wolf. It can be caught. It can be eaten by tiger. Man can eat zooplanktons. Man can eat crustaceans. Man can eat mackerel. Mackerel मतलब कुछ नहीं सुरमई. But shark will eat the man. Fine. So this complex organism which occurs in real life, never food chain. ऐसा नहीं होता कि आपको एप्पल नहीं मिला तो आप भूखे मर जाओगे. You will search for some other alternative food. So this alternative in life is provided by food web, nothing else. What is a food web? Multiple interlinked food chains. Multiple interlinked food chains which provide more than one alternative. Multiple interlinked food chains which provide more than one alternative for the food is known as a food web. Fine? Full stop. Question number 48. The food chain illustrates the order in which chain of organisms feed upon each other? Yes. Food chain is found between the population of a species? No. Population of a species अगर है तो नहीं. अगर रहता, the food chain is found within the community? Yes. Community means different species. Fine. Food chain illustrates the numbers of each organism. हमने लिखा नंबर कितना खाएंगे? नहीं. So the answer is one only. That is A. Fine. Yes. B. उस स्टेटमेंट का, what is the B statement? Population का मतलब क्या है? Members of the same species, right? इस population का definition क्या है? Members belonging to the same species. Same species में कभी food chain नहीं होगा. Do we write humans are eating humans? Humans are eating humans? नहीं. Next question is Can someone find the question जो मैंने कल छोड़ दिया था diatoms crustaceans वाला? 60. Question number 60. So what is the answer? मैंने बोला था I will come to that question tomorrow. What is the answer? Diatoms, crustaceans, herring. Answer is A. C नहीं, A है आंसर. मेरे से कल उल्टा बोला गया. Pyramid of numbers, and we are going to refer it in the same way. We are going to forget about the detritus food chain. We are going to see pyramid of numbers in terrestrial food chain and in the aquatic food chain. So pyramid of numbers means number of individuals at each and every trophic level. Food chain does not show the number of individuals at trophic level. It is the pyramid of numbers which show the number of individuals at trophic levels. Pyramid of numbers is the number of individuals of different species. Is the number of individuals of different species. Is the number of individuals of different species at each and every trophic level. At each and every trophic level. The pyramid of numbers may be upright or inverted. The pyramid of numbers may be upright or inverted. Now you tell me, in the terrestrial ecosystem, क्या होगा? हमेशा the number of green trees producers will be greater than the number of primary consumers, right? The number of cattle, goats, all the primary consumers will be greater than the secondary. The number of secondary consumers will be greater than tertiary and quaternary, right? And in the aquatic ecosystem क्या होगा? Upright or inverted. मतलब आपको खुद को पूछना है, the number of phytoplanktons in the sea which are growing only in the photic zone will be greater in number than all the animals that are living in the sea, yes or no? Simple answer है yes. The word is phytoplanktons because they are microscopically small. इतने ज़्यादा small है, but they are packed with nutrients because of ecological efficiency. So though they grow only here, still they are larger in numbers. Biomass में नहीं, weight में नहीं, they are larger in numbers than all the animals that are present in the aquatic ecosystem. वैसे भी aquatic ecosystem में in the non-photic zone, aphotic zone, you don't have much biodiversity. So first statement, the pyramid of numbers is always upright in the aquatic ecosystem. But it may be upright as well as inverted. It may be upright as well as inverted in the terrestrial ecosystem. Inverted in the terrestrial ecosystem. In the terrestrial ecosystem. In the grassland ecosystem, the pyramid of number is always upright. The pyramid of number is always upright. एक एक वर्ड देखना. टेरेस्ट्रियल को हमने डिवाइड किया ग्रासलैंड में. फाइन. सिर्फ जब नंबर्स करते हैं हम फिर से डिवाइड करते हैं उसको. तो इसमें ग्रासलैंड मतलब यू विल अंडरस्टैंड दिस ओवर. सो ग्रासलैंड इकोसिस्टम में सारे ग्रासेस, ट्रीज सब कुछ आएगा. राइट. इट इज ऑलवेज अपराइट क्योंकि जो आपने कहा कि द नंबर ऑफ ट्रीज एक्सेट्रा विल बी ग्रेटर इन नंबर एज कंपेयर टू दिस. इन्वर्टेड कब होगा? नॉट फॉरेस्ट. इफ यू कंसिडर अ सिंगल ट्री देन द नंबर ऑफ ट्री कितना है प्रोड्यूसर? एक. उसके ऊपर there are numerous insects. This can be there, this can be here, this can be on the ground. Insects will be large in number. उसके ऊपर there will be birds, different family of the birds staying, different snakes at different levels, maybe monkeys, maybe animals. But what is supporting them? Single tree. So exception is the tree ecosystem, not the forest ecosystem. Tree ecosystem में when we consider only the single tree, and this is what we have commonly seen. एक tree के ऊपर क्या एक ही animal है? No, there are numerous animals. So, but it is inverted. Understanding grassland as it is पूरा grassland, terrestrial ecosystem. But अगर हमने single tree को consider किया, then it is a tree ecosystem. But it is inverted in the case of tree ecosystem. In the case of tree ecosystem. And you can draw this diagram. It is not totally inverted when we consider the एक ट्री उसके ऊपर herbivorous birds but एक ही ईगल. Equivalture. Eagle will always be lesser in number than the herbivorous bird. So we will call that special case as spindle shaped. Inverted कब होगा? Tree, उसके ऊपर जो अभी animals के अंदर के parasites, parasites के अंदर hyper parasites, super hyper parasites, then it will be inverted. Inverted, हमेशा inverted. There is only a single tree. Tree ecosystem मतलब not trees. Tree ecosystem मतलब एक ही पेड़. This is also inverted. Special case of inverted ही है ना. एक tree है, ये increase हो रहा है तो ये inverted ही हो गया. उसके ऊपर जाके वो normal हो रहा है. But ये inverted ही है. Inverted मतलब क्या? Base कम, उसका height ज़्यादा. So this is an example of an inverted pyramid. Getting it? Everyone? Next, pyramid of biomass. Tell me inverted upright. जिन्होंने शंकर पढ़ा है, tell me. कहाँ पे inverted और कहाँ पे upright? कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं, थोड़ा दिमाग लगाओ. देखो. In the terrestrial ecosystem, हमेशा upright. Grassland, yes. Tree, when we consider a single tree, upright. Biomass मतलब वजन. Tree का वजन obviously should be greater than all the animals there on the tree. Otherwise the tree will fall down. So it has to be upright. When it is inverted in the aquatic ecosystem. क्यों? Phytoplanktons are large number of microscopic organisms या plants. Because they are microscopic, उनका वजन ही नहीं है. They are not at all having any weight. So you go and buy any time in the market a spirulina ka bottle, tablets, 30 gram having some 60 capsules, because spirulina is an example of an phytoplankton. So what is the weight of 60 capsules? And एक capsule के अंदर lakhs of spirulina are there. So they don't have any kind of an weight. But that one capsule is enough to remove your vitamin deficiency. That is what is the pure energy. Ecological efficiency is high, but उनका वजन ही नहीं है. Numbers is high. So why? याद रखना. On the biomass weight के हिसाब से pyramid of biomass is always upright on the terrestrial ecosystem. It is inverted in the aquatic ecosystem. Numbers का possible हमेशा वहाँ पे upright in the aquatic ecosystem. Fine. So इसका मतलब है all the elephant, which is the largest mammal on the earth? Elephant, herbivorous है, right? Rhino, second largest mammal on the earth, herbivorous है. So उनका वजन is less than tigers. And why do we say it is upright? Pyramid of biomass, if it is upright, means producers, trees, grass का वजन should be greater than that of all the herbivorous animals. अब herbivorous animals, elephants भी आते हैं, rhinos भी आते हैं, cattle भी आता है. The buffaloes also come in herbivorous animal. उनका वजन, is it greater than? उनका वजन should be greater than that of all the wolves in the world. उनका वजन should be greater than all the tigers in the world. ऐसे हो सकता है? Yes, क्योंकि area बहुत limited है. How many places in the world do we find elephants? Elephants are found only at some specific places in the world. Confused हो जाओगे? Take down. Pyramid of biomass. The pyramid of biomass. The biomass means the weight of an organism in a given area and volume. Weight of an organism in the given area and volume. Biomass means weight of an organism in the given area and volume. So in an area or volume, कितना weight है of all the herbivorous animals, etc. To calculate the pyramid of biomass, we consider dry weight. we consider the dry weight. We consider dry weight. Pyramid of biomass is always upright in the terrestrial ecosystem. Is always upright in the terrestrial ecosystem. But in the aquatic ecosystem, as the producers are microscopically small phytoplanktons, they do not have much weight. And hence the pyramid of biomass is inverted. And you can draw this diagram. ये land ecosystem में, and this is on the aquatic ecosystem, which the pyramid of biomass. These values don't have any importance. It's just an representative values to show to the students in most of the books कि कैसे weight will keep on increasing. ये खत्म होते ही pyramid of this, and that is the end of ecology. Fine? It is so small topic. You have to remember only this thing. यार ये मेंस में बहुत कम आएगा except for ecological succession. Fine? क्योंकि nutrient cycling जो है will do it as a both application part as well as this. इसके बाद Ramsar convention and all the current based topics will start. Getting it? So see, pyramids, food chain ka definition, then we come to pyramid of numbers, upright always in the aquatic ecosystem, upright inverted in the terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem mein kahan inverted? On the tree ecosystem. Then we come to pyramid of biomass, exactly opposite. It is always upright on the land, it is inverted in the aquatic ecosystem. Pyramid of energy, kahin pe bhi upright. Why? Because energy is unidirectional. So pyramid of energy. It is the most important pyramid. It is the most important pyramid because it represents the amount of energy. It represents the amount of energy at each trophic level, full stop. As per the Lindman's rule, as per the Lindman's law, only 10% of the energy, only 10% of the energy is transferred from lower to higher trophic level. Only 10% of the energy is transferred from lower to higher trophic level. And therefore, maximum 4 to 5 trophic levels are possible. I am repeating that point again. Maximum 4 to 5 trophic levels are possible. At each trophic level, the energy is lost in respiration, the energy is lost in respiration, or in metabolism, or in locomotion, or in locomotion. Fine. Therefore, the pyramid of energy is always unidirectional and upright. Underline the word unidirectional and upright. Is always unidirectional and upright. You can draw this diagram. इस diagram में और एक आंसर है. How much % of sun's photosynthetically active radiation is utilized by the plants to make food? 2%. PAR मतलब photosynthetically active radiation, मतलब visible light. Fine? 2%. सन में से सिर्फ 2% ऑफ नॉट सनलाइट नहीं 1% ऑफ सनलाइट और 2% ऑफ फोटोसिंथेटिकली एक्टिव रेडिएशन मतलब विजिबल लाइट. Photosynthetically active radiation. Can I continue? As the ecological efficiency is low, as the ecological efficiency is low, as the ecological efficiency is low, therefore organisms higher in the food chain are lesser in number. Organisms higher in the food chain are lesser in number, require more food, lesser in number. Organisms higher in the food chain are lesser in number, require more food. Full stop. क्यों require more food? They require more energy per unit of the food. इसलिए shark is always lesser in number as compared to the herrings or phytoplanktons. Tigers will always be lesser in number in the jungle. Require more food. As they require more food, higher the organism in the food chain, higher the organism in the food chain, higher the organism in the food chain, there is a greater chance of biomagnification and bioaccumulation. Biomagnification and bioaccumulation. Fine. Understand this simple process. We are starting with the topic biomagnification, bioaccumulation. These are the topics that are associated with bioaccumulation, which are currently in the news. Stockholm Convention, obviously an important convention on persistent organic pollutants. News में अभी भी endosulfan controversy is going on. News में अभी भी lead in Maggi is going on. Supreme Court is asking Nestle, why should we eat the Maggi which is there with the lead? Lead Maggi में कम है, lipstick में सबसे ज़्यादा है lead. So the lead in lipstick, that is the lead pollution in lipstick. Mercury and arsenic in water bodies in India, that is the issue. Nitrate pollution in India, purana issue. Arsenic pollution in India, the current issue. Or current, सबसे ज़्यादा current issue is the mercury pollution in India due to e-waste, electronic waste, which is dumped into the water bodies. And lastly, pesticide in food and the increasing cases of, this is related to कहाँ पे है कैंसर ट्रेन? Bathinda to Jaipur. Bathinda to Jaipur, a train which starts every morning at 6 a.m. carrying 60 to 70% of cancer patients to the hospital in Rajasthan. That is the Punjab's most famous cancer train. First, we'll start with bioaccumulation and then biomagnification. Fine? Crops being grown on the fields and they are sprayed with insecticides and pesticides. As they are sprayed with insecticides and pesticides, most of these insecticides and pesticides are non-biodegradable. Fine? So first is non-biodegradable. So because they are non-biodegradable, they will not be destroyed in the atmosphere. They will stay in the soil. As they are staying in the soil, they will be taken up by the plants through their normal process of xylem and phloem. As a result of this, they will stick in the plants. The plants will be rich in insecticides and pesticides, but they will be minute in quantity. For example, this entire plant is having 1 gram of insecticide and pesticide. 1 gram of insecticide and pesticide is such an amount जिससे आदमी को कुछ नहीं होता. Maybe human beings के लिए 100 grams of that insecticides and pesticides becomes lethal or poisonous or problematic. Now each plant is having 1 gram here, and in this entire year or in entire life you are eating 5 plants. Suppose you are not at this level, you are habit of eating goat and this goat is eating the 5 plants. But because plants is having insecticide and pesticide, this insecticide and pesticide from the goat, from the plants it goes to the goat. Why does goes to the goat? Because सबसे पहले it is non-biodegradable and secondly it is non-water soluble. इसलिए it is going into the goat. Had it been water soluble, it would have moved away. So how much is the amount of pesticides in goat? 5 grams. क्यों बड़ा है ये? Because they are eating the 5 trees. And suppose you are here who is going to eat 5 goats in a year, or who is going to eat maybe 3 goats in a year. एक goat के अंदर there is 5 grams. So in human being के अंदर there will be 15 grams, and it becomes problematic. So the process by which the bioaccumulant or the pollutant enters the food chain is bioaccumulation, and the process by which, as it moves from lower to higher trophic levels, there is increase in the concentration of a food chain, it is known as an biomagnification. Getting it? But for a pollutant to bioaccumulate and biomagnify, 2 properties are very, very important. It should be non-water soluble, it should be non-biodegradable. Because it is non-water soluble, any pollutant which is non-water soluble is the milk's fat soluble. Fine? It is always fat soluble, and because it is fat soluble, वहाँ से problem शुरू होता है, because it gets easily transferred from mother's milk to baby. And as a result of this, Kerala में, Tamil Nadu में, to some extent, जहाँ पे plantation agriculture is there, many of the children are born either mentally or physically deformed, mentally retarded or physically deformed. They don't have hands, they don't have legs, maybe उनका head का shape is somewhat different. This is due to endosulfan, which has been banned all over the world except India and China. Which has been banned all over the world except India and China, because India and China में it is the cheapest insecticide and pesticide for plantation agriculture, the endosulfan controversy. It has been banned in other forms of agriculture. Endosulfan is not used in other forms, but it is used in tea plantations, a kind of an endosulfan. So this process is known as bioaccumulation, biomagnification. But iske examples are too much. One of the example is plastic. Plastic is also an bioaccumulant. Another example of bioaccumulant is volatile organic compounds. The third example of bioaccumulant is peroxyacetyl nitrate, photochemical smog. The fourth example of the bioaccumulant is chloroform, that is again photochemical smog. The fifth example of bioaccumulant is the volatile organic compounds in the paint, formaldehyde. That is, जो घर में है, which is the most common killer in Indian homes. Because India में, rather than outside pollution, a study has shown that in India, inside pollution is much greater. Indoor pollution is greater than the outdoor pollution. Why? Because in India, we don't have much of an proper ventilation. And in India, there is so much of plastic coming in each and every use. And this plastic, this is not wood. This is what? This is not even plywood. क्या है ये? ये इतना हल्का है, मतलब this is paper. Paper जिसके ऊपर wood का जो भूरा लगाया हुआ है, उसके ऊपर फेविकॉल है, उसके ऊपर पेंट है, and this will give out radiations when it is hot, and therefore volatile organic compounds which are taken up by the body, they accumulate and thus they cause cancer. Now what is the special case of Punjab? Punjab में after Green Revolution there has been so much focus on. Green Revolution is based on 3 things: assured irrigation, high yielding variety of seeds, and extensive use of fertilizers and pesticides. Out of that, fertilizer से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. It is the pesticides, extensive use of pesticides, that is transformed from the crops to the cattle, and from cattle milk to the human beings. And as a result of this, milk drinking population in Punjab is causing cancer, is facing the threat of cancer. And this is the famous village. I have just forgotten the name of a village where it is known as a widow village, because most of the male people have died as they have been exposed to insecticides and pesticides. So this is the biggest concern in India. आगे का concern in India. As illegal sand mining, rock mining is increasing in India, because construction activity is increasing, we are deepening the water channels. As the water channel is deepening, the water is going and mixing with the country rock. Getting it? As the water is going and mixing with the country rock, the water gets dissolved with heavy minerals that are there in the country rock, increasing the salinity of the water. As the salinity of the water is increasing, unfortunately India में Archean gneiss and schist में country rock में either there is great amount of uranium, or there is a great amount of arsenic, or there is a greater amount of nitrate, and therefore 40% of India suffers from nitrate pollution, 60% of India suffers from arsenic pollution. And then ye uranium pollution kahan se aaya? The people in the Chota Nagpur plateau are suffering from uranium pollution. क्यों? Illegal mining. जितने मिनरल्स ऊपर है इसका मतलब नीचे के रॉक्स में भी वही मिनरल्स है. यूरेनियम लुक्स गुड इन न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर, नॉट इन आवर वाटर टैंक्स. Fine. Arsenic in smaller amount is good in toothpaste. Sorry, arsenic in smaller amount is good in the sheets and in the petroleum, not in our waters. And the nitrate in 0.1% is good in toothpaste, but excessive nitrates will kill the germs on the teeth and it will destroy the entire bones in the body, because nitrates say body becomes so acidic that India में new kind of disease is coming up in which over the excessive nitrate pollution say ultimately your bones are lost and you just become a hanging skin and you cannot even walk then. So the largest amount of nitrate pollution is occurring in the state of Rajasthan, where more than 40,000, 60,000 people suffer from nitrate pollution. With all this background came last year question, mining and salinity. If you look normally, the mining should not increase the salinity, but option is mining will increase the salinity. All the questions will come from current issues. The only thing is they will ask you the basics. That is, यहाँ से अब वो basic चीजें खत्म, जो food chain, food web, वो सब खत्म. Everything will be related to current issue. Everything will be related to convention. So you ask me carbon cycle में how will you relate to the current issues? Carbon cycle में we are going to relate to carbon sequestration, carbon sink and the carbon burial. Nitrogen cycle में we are going to relate it to the bio toilets and biofertilizers. Phosphorus cycle is not at all important. Sulfur cycle is not at all important. Question यही आता है कहाँ पे है phosphorus and sulfur cycle. Oxygen cycle is not required. Fine with this? Hydrological cycle we have done in the geography. The oceans में से कितना fresh water, कितना saline water, that is nothing but the hydrological cycle. So understood how to go and relate this? Fine. So first, bioaccumulation. The process by which a pollutant enters a food chain. Process by which the pollutant enters the food chain. Process by which the pollutant enters the food chain is known as bioaccumulation. Is known as bioaccumulation. And the tendency of a pollutant to increase in concentration of a pollutant to increase in concentration as it moves from lower to higher trophic levels in the food chain. Lower to higher trophic levels in the food chain is known as bioaccumulation. Is known as bioaccumulation. Is known as bioaccumulation. Sorry, biomagnification is known as biomagnification. Is known as biomagnification. Next paragraph. Commercial agriculture. Which focuses on use of heavy machinery and deep tillage. Use of heavy machinery and deep tillage. Deep tillage destroys the soil structure, as well as microorganisms in the soil. Hence, the soil requires more application of insecticides, pesticides and fertilizers. Insecticides, pesticides and fertilizers. Pesticide and fertilizers. This problem is aggravated. Due to increasing monoculture. What do you mean by monoculture? Growing of single variety of crop. Problem is aggravated by the monoculture. ब्रैकेट में लिखना नीम कोटेड यूरिया. विल कम टू नीम कोटेड यूरिया. इसका कैसा सॉल्यूशन है? नीम कोटेड यूरिया. सो जब भी आप रिवाइज करोगे आपको पता होना चाहिए कि एप्लीकेशन पार्ट क्या है, वो भी रिवाइज होना चाहिए. मे बी ये नहीं आएगा पेपर में, नीम कोटेड यूरिया आएगा. फाइन. सेकंड, with the growing use of industrial chemicals, in consumer industrial chemicals in the consumer good industry, bioaccumulants such as formaldehyde, comma carbon monoxide and heavy metals such as lead, arsenic, is found in indoor air pollution. Fine. Next. वहां पे ब्रैकेट में लिखना द कंट्रोवर्सी ऑफ फॉर्मेलिन. आई गेस यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट फॉर्मेलिन. कहां पे यूज होता है? फिश प्रिजर्वेटिव्स. किसका? 10 या 15. Uranium is not bad. Bioaccumulation, biomagnification. Similarly, nitrate is not bad. 50 micrograms. We'll come to that. धीरे धीरे. So first, property of bioaccumulants and biomagnificants. But इतना याद रखना, we are doing this very in the limited quantity. So what causes bioaccumulation? Industrial chemicals? Yes. Pesticides? Yes. Insecticides? Yes. Fertilizers? No. Fertilizers do not cause bioaccumulation, biomagnification. Fertilizers हम इसलिए use करते हैं ज़्यादा because we kill the microorganisms. So because of this we have to increase fertilizer. Increase in the fertilizer causes growth of the weeds. Growth of the weeds से कारण हमें insecticides, weedicide, fungicide use करना पड़ता है. This is the problem of deep tillage. So the answer is zero tillage. Geography. Fine. क्योंकि फर्टिलाइजर्स से नेवर यू विल फाइंड बायो एक्यूमुलेशन एंड बायो मैग्निफिकेशन. फर्टिलाइजर्स से अलग प्रॉब्लम होता है, एंड दैट प्रॉब्लम इज नोन एज eutrophication because of algal bloom. They do not cause bioaccumulation, not even the nitrogenous fertilizers. Fertilizers are not good for, bad for health. Fertilizers are good for health. क्या है? नाइट्रोजन ही है वो. Fine. It is the chemicals which are bad for health. So properties first. So याद रखना, only fertilizers and pesticides. Oh sorry, only insecticides and pesticides. So first property, the bioaccumulants have the tendency to move upwards along the food chain. To move upwards in a food chain. See, if it does not get mixed in soil, it will not move in the plants. If it does not get in the chemicals and the tissues of the plants, it will not move in the animals. So इनमें ये property है, they will move upwards. Fine? That is from the lower trophic levels to the higher trophic levels. Second, they are non-biodegradable. And therefore they have longer life. Third, they are not soluble in water. And therefore they cannot be thrown away by the body through urine and excreta. In fact, most of this bioaccumulants are fat soluble. That is, they are most of these bioaccumulants are fat soluble. That is, they are lipogenic. That is, they will be converted into fats. They are fat soluble. And hence, they are transferred easily from mother's milk. To infants, or transferred in meat eating population and fish eating population. So you should become veg even now to stop pollution. The meat eating and the fish eating population. Example, Minamata disease. क्यों होता है? Caused due to mercury poisoning. क्यों नाम Minamata? Because it was first seen in the Minamata Bay. So caused due to mercury poisoning, which destroys the nervous system, causing blindness, damage to hearing and speech, and damage to hearing and speech and general muscle weakness. general muscle weakness. General muscle weakness. Second, plastics are directly related to 21% increase in the rate of cancers. Plastics are directly related to 21% increase in the rate of cancers, especially पॉलीइथिलीन जिससे पॉलीथीन बनता है and PVC pipes, polyvinyl chloride, polyethylene and polyvinyl chloride. Therefore polyethylene has been replaced either by high density polyethylene, high density मतलब ज़्यादा thick, so it does not get. What will happen if I put hot water in this bottle? It will start melting, it will give out dangerous fumes which will mix with water and then it will go in my body. What is this? PVC or polyethylene. So if it is high density polyethylene, जो thick bottles है, they do not get mixed, and as a result of this there is lesser chances. So PET bottles are used for drinking water. What will happen if, show me your bottle. No, not. What will happen if you put normal water in this bottle? If you put normal water in this bottle, and we are in the tropical country like India, जहाँ पे heat is very high, there is a mixing of poisonous gases in this bottle, and every time we drink it, so there is a bioaccumulation occurring. Fine, and you can see the example of a third bottle. This is an example of an PET, high density polyethylene. Fine, so this इसके ऊपर लिखा रहता है crush after use. Fine. Next, replaced by high density polyethylene or PET, that is polyethylene. Polyethylene terephthalate. Polyethylene terephthalate. But polyethylene terephthalate or PET, is not resistant at high temperature, higher temperature, and therefore nowadays there is focus on bioplastics. There is a focus on bioplastics. See, before I go into bioplastics, you should know why our older people drink in glass or in steel, because they do not cause the bioaccumulation and biomagnification. जैसे ही घर में प्लास्टिक बढ़ा for storage, for water, for drinking, for carrying tiffin, वैसे इंडिया में कैंसर रेट्स बढ़ गए and the fertility level has decreased. So therefore avoid plastics, therefore plastic ban. Fine. Now coming to bioplastics. Can someone tell me what is bioplastic? You can never ban plastic from life. Plastic is the need of an hour. What should we ban is the thin plastic. इसलिए the घर का plastic, domestic plastic has been banned, not the industrial plastic. You cannot ban the industrial plastic because plastic is needed for an hour. Heart attack case में भी, stent में भी plastic use होता है. You cannot ban the plastic. What should be done is the proper disposal of the plastic, and what should be banned is the very thin plastic, that is polythene, जिसमें generally आपका टिफिन आता है, right? So that should be banned because गरम खाना उसमें डाल के fumes. So you remember, जितना लंबा रहोगे राजेंद्र नगर, there is a danger to health also. So bioplastic is a polymer. Bioplastic is a polymer that is based on biological materials such as starch. Is a polymer. This is also a polymer, very dense. Plastic is a polymer. What do you mean by polymer? जिसमें chain of monomers. In simple language, what is a polymer? High density, high complex, something which is made by continuously linked chain is an polymer. Fine? He's right, chain of monomers, but हमारे काम का नहीं chain of monomers. High density something. So जितना ज़्यादा thick, उतना dense polymers. Now thickness can be done by petrochemicals. This is a derivative of petroleum industry, or it can be done nowadays by starch, by sugarcane का waste products, by rice का waste products, by wheat का waste products, by agriculture residues, or by vegetable oil का waste products. And therefore, one which is made from this products is what is known as an bioplastic. So where was I? Polymer based on biological materials such as starch, vegetable oils, bird feathers including chicken feathers, and other agricultural residues. Such as wood chips, food chip, food waste, etc. Wood chip, wood dust, wood chips, food waste, etc. Food waste, खाने का waste, food waste, wood chip. The bioplastics are biodegradable because they can be synthesized or broken down by microorganisms. And therefore they have smaller footprint, are less polluting, and do not cause bioaccumulation. Background लिख लेना. European Union has banned bisphenol A. उन्होंने PVC और सब तो बहुत ज़माने पहले बैन किया था. Fine? अब उन्होंने bisphenol A भी बैन किया है. And therefore bioplastics have been introduced. European Union has banned bisphenol A और BPA जो हमने स्टार्टिंग में किया, and it has been replaced by bioplastics. इस साल अवार्ड मिला to a small girl which is who is in 8th standard, because she made bioplastic out of banana skin, and that is now used to pack the chocolates in European Union. They don't use plastic like us. Fine. So imagine dairy milk jab melt hota hai, it is mixing with the plastic covering and it is causing fumes to come out. Fine with this? So that is the bioplastic. Bioplastic is important for this year. Getting it? Everyone? So aaj say no plastic, say no to plastic for your better health. So we'll continue tomorrow then. कहाँ पे लिखा है?